know what's coming to the stage. More talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune no too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the fourth, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs. You know what's going on. Man, now we're out the dark, no LA. We the big spark. No fourth and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live, all 3 speaks go.
And what is going on, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy, Brandon Combs, coming to you live on a beautiful, well, icy Sunday morning here in, I wouldn't say Chicago, but it's actually, we're in Indiana. I don't know what's going on. We got tattoo parlors next to daycares. We got liquor stores next to the tattoo parlors. So you can get your kids watched while you go get a tattoo and go get a couple of drinks. But nonetheless, it is Man Hour Chicago. It is Sunday morning. We've got a great show lined up for you guys. We are going to be talking all about the Mike Clevenger thing. We're going to be talking about the Hall of Fame. We're going to be talking about today's games and in the championship games. We're going to be talking about the Chicago Bears. Are they trading not the number 1 draft pick, but are they trading QB1? And we're also going to be talking with Steve Bernadette. He is going to be our Southside Bag Star of the Week. But before I get started with all that, I've got to bring on my co-host, my man. He is Ryan Fitzgibbons. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming over again. Championship Sunday, one of the best, probably one of the best Sundays in football, I'd say. That first round week is pretty fun. I mean, the wild card week usually is kind of lopsided, but it wasn't that good this year. But I mean, we're going to have 2 good games today, I think, for sure. I have my predictions. That'll probably be bad, but pretty even games. I mean, really, even if you look at the spreads too. So, I mean, should be fun. And you're going to make fun of my White Sox because that's what you like to do. So,
you know, I'm actually not going to make fun of the White Sox. It's not that I want to make fun of the White Sox. There's a lot of things going on with the Mike Clevenger situation, right? And we could actually get started there. Let's talk about the Mike Clevenger thing. Let's talk about what's going on the south side of Chicago. And the one thing that I don't understand is why Mike Clevenger is still a Chicago White Sox. I don't understand. Maybe you can explain it to me. Shed some light as to why Mike Clevenger is still on the roster on the south side.
Well, I think, you know, at this point, you don't know a whole hell of a lot. Like you didn't see him, you know, knock out his girlfriend and then drag her into an elevator. You also did not, you know, you haven't seen anything as to like maybe some crazy text messages or maybe some video on camera that she had. I don't know if there were some pictures that I saw of her that, you know, there were some wounds that I saw. It doesn't look good. Like it seems really human, which is it is and usually means it's true because it doesn't seem fabricated. It seems like this might have happened. I mean, I think there's like a 99% chance it happened, but the 1 in 100, I don't know if they can kick him out yet. Kick him off the team yet. I think they have to wait for the investigation to come back. Most importantly, because that they might be on the hook for the money if this ends up not being a real thing. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the contract is. There's probably something in his contract about how he acts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like whether he goes to prison or something like this. I mean, if this is true, there's going to be legal action.
And you know, I'm one of those that, like, I defended Deshaun Watson after about a month of listening to everything that was going on with the case. I defended him kind of from the start, just because it all seemed suspicious to me, the way that it was happening. I defended Trevor Bauer when it all came out because of the text messages that were also came out, and where it seemed that this was a case of Trevor Bauer being caught in the wrong place at the wrong time because of the time we were going through in our country, and baseball was trying to make a statement, and they were doing all this stuff with everything politically and all that stuff. And his stuff seemed to be consensual. So this right here, I can't get behind, and this hits me on a kind of a personal level, right? So I actually lost somebody who I loved, very near and dear to my heart due to domestic violence. My cousin, her life was taken by her husband.
Holy crap.
And it is one of those things that just, look, there are 3 people in this world that I will actually judge, right? Like I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care, whether you're male, female, or one of the other 97 genders that are out there now. It doesn't bother me, right? Yeah, I don't care what your sexual preference is. I don't care about any of that. But if you steal, if you abuse a child, and if you are a man that beats a woman, or it can happen on the other way too, right? Yep. There's domestic violence the other way. It just doesn't get reported as much, but there is domestic violence where women are the abuser. I don't have time for those people, and it's sickening to listen to the story of Mike Clevenger, and not only the fact that after this came out, now all of a sudden they're finding paper trails of accusations from him from prior.
Yeah, from the other women. Yeah. That's why it seems like this is true.
And not only that, so not only did he choke her, put hands on her, do those things, but then to take a wad of chew out of your mouth and throw it on a 10-month-old baby's face.
Oh,
like, you are the worst piece of scum that walks on the planet when you are that guy.
That's why it's too specific. Like, it's too specific not to be true. That's what I mean. It's too human. It's not like he slapped me around or whatever, and he wasn't supposed to, and it was kinky sex stuff. It wasn't that.
So as fast as the Dodgers were to do this to Trevor Bauer, as fast as Major League Baseball was to act on Trevor Bauer, who suspended him for what? He was going on 2 years.
There was an investigation there, though, too, right?
Right. There was an investigation, and a lot of the stuff that came out of that investigation showed that it was consensual sex. He likes rough consensual sex. He likes to get choked when he's having an orgasm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, it's a complete difference.
I don't see how is that pleasurable?
Look,
to each their own. I mean, you started this conversation with, I think we're all accepting on the Man Hour show, but how is that fun?
I don't know, but whatever your preference is, that's fine. It's in the bedroom. It's consensual. You're doing what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for you. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to be the guy that condones a man putting his hands on a woman. Okay? Look, have there been times where, I could honestly see where, a guy like you look at, let's take the what Dana White thing into consideration, right? Dana White smacked his wife in a bar. There's video of him smacking his wife in a bar. But his wife hit the shit out of him first in the face. You know what I mean? So like that, you can kind of be like, well, damn, I got slapped twice in the face, so now I hit her back to try to, hey, how do you think it feels? You know what I mean?
That's a weird
that type of stuff. I still don't like it, but I can almost kind of understand.
There's a spectrum. I think even with the Me Too movement, when it came out, it was like everything was rape. And it's like, no,
right.
Everything is not rape. If he touched your leg, it isn't rape. And it's the same thing with this. There's a spectrum. There definitely is. And,
and
Mike Clevenger seems to be on the the higher side of that spectrum.
You're abusing them just because you're stronger.
Yeah.
Just because you're tougher. Just because to take the water dip out of your mouth and throw it on a 10-month-old's face.
Unbelievable.
You're a fucking scumbag.
Yeah,
you're a scumbag at that point. And if he ever takes the mound for the Chicago White Sox, unless something comes out that proves beyond the shadow of the doubt that he is innocent and that this never happened. And I mean, it has to be clear evidence that this never happened. If he takes them out for the Chicago White Sox, I change everything that I've said about being a Cubs fan that does not hate the White Sox, because I will have so much disdain for that.
It's going to be hard not to be on board with you with that, especially if these are true. This is a money thing. That's what it is. They're waiting. Once the investigation's done, then they can fire him, DFA him, whatever they have to do. That's what's happening right now. I mean, I can't think of any other thing than that. Then, hey, let's wait till the investigation goes. Major League Baseball, I mean, they're investigating this. And the Sox pick them up and they don't really say anything. I mean, I know they probably have the best interest of the player in mind, but come on. Maybe they can't say anything because of the
legal.
Yeah, with the players.
I don't know how that works.
I think
but I do know as a field supervisor for a construction company in Addison, Illinois, right? Not a GM of a Major League Baseball team, that when I get an applicant in, they have to go and they have to take a piss test and they have to submit for a background check. Mm-hmm. I submit it over to corporate. Corporate will come back and say hireable, not hireable. And if they say not hireable, I can call and they can say, yes, he's got a pending court case. We can't hire him. They can't tell me exactly what it's for, but they can tell me, hey, yes, hireable, no, not hireable. How is that not happening in Major League Baseball? I don't understand. Like, how does Major League Baseball say, hey, look, before you give this guy a contract, before you sign on the dotted line, just so you know,
this is what's
there's
happening.
A pending investigation. I can't tell you what the investigation is, but there's a pending investigation.
Yeah, you know what? They should be able to say that, but they didn't. The Major League Baseball, the White Sox said they weren't told anything. There's nothing. There's no criminal record, and obviously, I'm sure he had to take some kind. I mean, they have to take a physical. I think there's a drug test, but I can't be for sure of that. I think there is a drug test when they get picked up.
Yeah,
by
there's a drug test and a physical.
Yeah, and a physical. But I mean, how are they going to know? There was nothing on social media about this.
They still knew a week later.
Yeah,
I mean, we're 2 months after the signing now.
Yeah.
We're
a month.
It happened in December. It happened before Christmas. So we're 2 months into the signing now. What the hell are they waiting for? What more do you have to hear about this story before you say, hey, look, you know what? Even if it is not true, even if you're going to even if you're going to be found innocent, and even if this isn't true, this publicity for this team, where we've promised our fans that we are going to try to win back your trust and your loyalty, this is a really bad way to go about it. This is a really bad look. And when you're backing a guy like this, you're not gaining the trust of your fans.
Their public relations has done a complete 180. I mean, and I've been talking a lot about it on the show. It really has. I mean, from 2020 till now, it is just a complete 180. One of the most exciting teams in the league, great marketing campaign, all that, had all this stuff going for you other than Ricky Renteria putting in, 10 pitchers in a deciding playoff game. But I digress. I mean, their PR has just been horrible all pretty much the last 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. Even the weird way that Tony La Russa kind of went out with the pacemaker problem. Yeah, okay, maybe that was it. I mean, it's just been messed up. It really has, and this is just another blow to them. But I don't see a lot of culpability yet. I think a lot of people would have done the same thing. There isn't, like I said, there isn't a video of him dragging her into an elevator. I don't mean to laugh or anything like that. So I think they just wait for the investigation, and it could be a money thing with them too. Yeah, if they get release them and it's not true. Yeah, maybe I mean, you bring up the hook for $9-10 million.
You bring up the elevator thing, and Ray Rice, and I don't feel bad for him, but he got blackballed.
Yeah.
From the league after that, and rightfully so. I mean, look, you're a piece of crap. I don't care if your wife forgave you or not. If you guys moved on, good for you. If you guys could get past that. I don't have any trust that you're not going to do it again.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
Kareem Hunt got to play again.
But that is the difference here. I don't remember. Was there a tape with Kareem Hunt? Was there any video evidence? I don't think so, right?
I think there was.
Oh, okay. Then there was because the Chiefs released them
either
really
that or
fast.
He pleaded guilty or something. Like it was ugly, and the Browns were like, "Nah, we'll take you."
Yeah,
we'll take you. We need to run it back.
What a great organization!
I thought he was going to end up in the Raiders organization. To be honest,
and now, yeah, that would make as much sense. But it's not surprising he ended up where Deshaun Watson is now.
Yeah, and that's
But,
the thing. So this Mike Clevenger thing, like it's, I mean, obviously it hit home for me.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it. I don't understand where they're coming from with it. Guys out there listening on Facebook and YouTube, let us know if you're getting an echo. I did get some word from Johnny Torres, who's here in the studio. I think his echo is coming just from the studio. I think Buck would have mentioned. I see Buck here in the comments. I see my son Junior's in the comments. Says, "What's up, old man?" Because we do have an echo in the studio just because we're in the same room and all that stuff. We're still working out all the kinks, but let us know if you have an echo over on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll get into all that. We're gonna bring Johnny here on in just a couple of minutes. We're gonna get to the Hall of Fame stuff after, right? I'm definitely gonna deep dive, but I'm gonna tease it right before we bring Johnny on here. Is that the Hall of Fame inducted Scott Rowland, and I don't have a huge problem with Scott Rowland going in, but I have a huge problem with some of the guys that didn't also get elected, and how the Hall of Fame is now becoming the Hall of Friends. Like it's driving me nuts. So we're going to get to all that right after we get to this interview, right after we talk with Johnny. We're going to talk with Steve Bernasek, the Southside Bags Star of the Week. So without further ado, let me bring on my man, my guy from Southside Bags, repping the hoodie today. Like these hoodies are nice. I got my name on the back of it and everything. So let me bring on Johnny Torres here. Johnny, what's going on, boss?
Hey, good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we got you. Looks like you're in the basement today or something.
Fit. I'm in the same location.
You got a new camera then. It's more panned in for sure than it was last week. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on a different camera. I'm in a different computer, so
okay.
Lately been having issues with the other one, but hopefully you guys can hear me well here.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
so
perfect.
We've got Steve Bernasek coming on, but before we get to that, man, we had a good week this past Thursday with Southside Bags over at Bourbon Street, man, because not only did we lock down something big for the Man Hour show, which we're gonna tease a little bit, and we'll let you guys in on that later on this week when we make the big announcement, but we also had a couple of guests over at Bourbon Street, including the #1 player in the world. So why don't you go ahead and boast about that a little bit?
Sheesh. Yeah. Fitz, you missed you missed a really good one. I'm just gonna rub it in, but yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, we're actually oh my God, where did it zoom in?
I zoomed you in.
We zoomed
Oh,
you in.
never mind.
We have control.
Oh, so we had ACL Pro Nico Morales. Morales stopped by, and he put a guest with him. So we're talking about #1 world ranked ACL champion, world champion, Mark Richardson. So I was in complete shock. Really didn't know what to do at that point. We also had ACL Pro, rookie ACL Pro, Tony Mayball. So we had about 30 shooters. It was just amazing. Mark was able to capture what place with he had an okay partner, but I mean, just to say he was there. It sucks that I was actually found out that our pucks were taken, and therefore we were not able to utilize them there. But other than that, it was a great night.
Yeah, so I had talked to Nico earlier in the week, and I had told him, I said, hey, Nico, I said, you sent Tom Gustafson to take all of our money because I misspelled your name on the podcast. I said, so make sure on Thursday you bring me my money back. And I said, don't pull none of that mafia shit where you send somebody else to take my money. And so instead he shows up, and instead of bringing my money, he brings the #1 damn player in the world and takes my damn money again.
It's nuts. Yeah. I don't think people realize. Well, there's people that did recognize who Mark Richards is, and I was definitely boasting about him being there to everyone there, to all of our guests, and
Yeah.
putting up videos like, "Dude, this is him right here. Hello." Yeah, but yeah,
It's funny
it's
because his
amazing.
partner in the first tournament too didn't even know who he was until he came over to the bar and I was like, "Hey, you know your partner's the number one player in the world, right?" And he's like, "Makes a lot of sense now. Makes a lot of sense now." And you know, stuff like that is why I love the bags community. Again, I sat down with Nico. Nico watched me throw about 2 rounds, and after those 2 rounds, he said, "Hey, come here." And he had me tossing a bag, and we were playing catch with bags. And he completely changed the way that my arm angle is and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm throwing, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" That made a huge difference. So you've got pros, guys who are playing on ESPN, guys who are number one ranked players in the world, coming down to these tournaments and helping out guys like me who are going to rake in our family barbecues this year.
No, actually, and we appreciate that, right? Well, we get any better if we're playing, you know, lower level competition. So in order to get, you have to play the best ones, right there. So, I thought it was like you should probably just a radio and get rid of playing bags. I thought they overheard him saying, but hey, you gonna stick to your story? That's fine, Cole.
You know, I tell you what, I will never claim to be the best player there, but I will tell you this. At some point, my goal is to beat these guys when they come down to Southside Bags. I'll tell you that much.
That's the right attitude to have. And like I said, you're only gonna get better playing the best.
He's all sizzle, no steak.
At least I show up, Ryan.
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
I'll be.
Fitz, what are you wearing,
Trying to
man?
get
It was
there
just
for
a
your
laundry
birthday.
day.
What's that?
Yeah, that's right, guys. Don't forget, next Saturday, the 4th, they're having a little birthday party at Bourbon Street. Stop
Yeah.
by and have a drink, have
Johnny
a
Torres.
two drinks.
Johnny Torres birthday bash, February 4th at Bourbon Street in the VIP room. We're gonna do it right. I'm gonna bring like 3 bottles of
Oh my
some
God.
Screwball just for Johnny.
I'll
and
draft up the
we're gonna be
divorce
getting it good.
papers.
No, wife will be there.
All right. Perfect. All
Um,
right. So Johnny, we got Stephen Bernasek coming on the show. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about Stephen and we'll bring him on.
So Stephen Burness said I met him a few years ago on one of our local blind draw. First time we're going into a tournament, and he showed up. I think we talked about just a little bit about this preview on Man Hour. But we went to this tournament and got paired up with Stephen Burness. And said, everyone asking me, hey, what's up? I'm like, Steve said, I'm looking at my phone. Burness said, are you Burness? No. They're like, God, he's a pro, and I'm like, okay. So anyway, I get to meet Bernadette, and Bernadette is like, hey, what's up? He's like, what do you throw? And I said, bags. I throw bags. He's like, yeah, but what kind? I go, corn bags. He's like, no, we don't throw those here. So he ends up busting out his Ultra Psycho bags and says, here, we're gonna use these. And I'm like, oh, perfect. So anyway, as you can imagine, I did not have a good round, and so, but he was very, very motivating, very encouraging. Say, hey, whatever you do, this is what his words were. Whatever you do, just have fun, baby. Just have fun. So that kind of like, okay. So I started gorging all the bags, and so, but I was having fun, right? But yeah, without further ado, joining us from Illinois. Now he's originally from I want to say Sherrill or Northwest Indiana. Get up, guys.
Nobody wants to be in Indiana anyway.
Come on.
What's going on,
Let's
Steven?
go.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing well.
Good, man. Good. So, Steven, man, there was a good introduction by Johnny. He's told me that story a couple of times with the corn bags and what do you throw. And you know what's funny is that the first time that I went there, it was the day after Thanksgiving. It was the first time I'd ever been to an event that wasn't, in somebody's backyard or in the alley during a graduation party or something,
Mm-hmm.
And I see these guys throwing these bags. I'm like, what the hell are they throwing? And I pick them up. I'm like, holy shit, these feel good. So what I see, you got the Titan bag sweatshirt on there, man. What difference does a bag make for you?
I mean, it literally makes the biggest difference. I mean, it'll make a player from a novice player all the way to an elite player. I kind of compare it to like a bowling ball. It's just you find the right bowling ball for you. Just because a bag works for me or a bag works for another pro, it's not going to work for you. It's just not how it's going to happen. You need to find a bag that works for your game, your play style, and then you roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have a lot of fun on this show, man. Like I don't know if you're listening in the background, but we crack jokes. We make fun. I was joking with Nico about being, Southside Mafia, where he just comes in and just takes all my money. But the guy actually, sat down with me at the bar for like a good hour. The guy probably knows my whole life story by now because I was drunk. So I don't know how much I actually told him, but Nico is a great guy. Tom, when he came down, it was great to sit down and talk with him. I busted his chops a little bit about taking all of our money. Same thing with Mark. When Mark was there, that's what I like about this community is that, you have the number one player in the world coming down to Bourbon Street, sitting down, having a couple beers, throwing bags with you. He's 100 times better than you're ever going to be.
Yeah.
But he doesn't care about how good or how bad his partner is. Him and his girlfriend, I believe, were there. Nico and his wife were there. They were just having a good time. They were mingling, and we were all sitting down talking. And they will actually try to help your game out a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, we've all started at the bottom of the game. When I got in, I was awful. I was getting beat all the time. So being able to help or just talk or, mingle with the players I don't see any other way to do it. The game wouldn't be here without us, the players. So
right.
I'm no different than anyone else. I just might put a couple more bags in the hole.
Right, exactly. So when you come down to Bourbon Street one weekend here, because you're gonna come down, right? Like we're gonna see you there. All right, and then the cool thing for all of it was, we had this other player there who comes all the time. His name is Sebastian. Everybody calls him Seabass. A lot of people know him.
That's my guy.
He went there, man. He took out Nico. And then he takes out Mark and then wins the thing. And we're all sitting there watching this kid who plays with us every week taking out pros. And I'm like, damn, dude, you should be – why aren't you over here? You know what I mean? Like what are you doing? But it gives all of us – like we're all sitting around watching at the bar, right? Like, hey, one of us is competing with the pros. Like we're all sitting around. We're all, talking. We're all laughing and having a great time. That's the best part about this sport, man. It's like no other.
Yeah, I call it a family. It's a cornhole family. People I've met through cornhole have become my family. And to touch on Sebastian, that's my guy. And yes, I hope one day he does get in the pro league because I've been throwing against him for now 6 years. That's how long I've been doing it. And every time I throw against him, I'm throwing at someone who's really good.
Dude's a stud, and he's like 8'4".
Yeah, it's he barely he's halfway there already when he goes for that. So.
Those lanky arms. It's like playing with Nolan Ryan or Randy Johnson or something like that.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna, since we're talking about camaraderie here in the sport, I'm gonna ask my weekly question: performance enhancing drugs in cornhole or bags, whatever you want to call it. Drinking. Is there a Steven level of drinking that makes you a great player? And then is there like 3 beers, you're great, and then you get to 6 or 7 and you suck? Because that's sort of where I am, but it's not 6 or 7. It's like 8 or 9 or 10.
We need to call PEDs performance enhancing drinking
Yes,
in Southside
there you go.
Bags. That's what it is.
Is there a level?
I'm gonna be honest. You might hate me for this, but I don't drink.
All right.
Yeah.
There's
All right,
nothing wrong
all
with
right.
that.
But
I'm not gonna hate you for that.
I can answer it because I obviously I play with a lot of people who do. There is that point at this level where they all tell me that, like, if I get there, I feel good, feel great. When I go over that point, it's gone. They can't throw. So there's definitely that point. But for me, no, there's no way I could play at this level and drink. There's no way.
Yeah, probably. I mean, what is your throw, or what do you ever change up your throw, or what's your strategy? Because we were talking strategy last week a lot, and it got kind of interesting, like the details of it that I wouldn't even, as a lay person, I wouldn't even like know a bag. So what's some of your strategies, if you can share some?
To be honest,
Maybe there's
so
some you
I'm
don't want to share. But
No, I'm pretty simple with my game. So I'm a stepper. So I take a step when I throw, like kind of like bowling, just without the slide. But then I'm really just trying to outshoot you. I'm just going hole for hole, throw a very slick bag, kind of high arcing. So I'm just trying to outshoot you, just outlast you. Play a 30-round game and try to get to 21 before you. Really, I don't do the whole flop, roll, block. I mean, if someone blocks me, I'm gonna shoot the air mail. I think I have a pretty good air mail.
Man, I hate players like you because I'm real. That is something that I've gotten really good at. Even Nico on last Thursday said, he's like, dude, you got a really good block shot. Because I throw a bag. Sometimes I'll throw a faster bag, but on these boards at Bourbon Street, they're a little slicker. So I throw a 4-8 bag, a NOLA bag actually, on these boards, and I'll throw the sticky side, and I'll hit one right in the middle, and then I'll put one right on top of that and block you out. But those guys that can hit those air mails all day long tear me apart because I can't. I've never in my life, playing bags ever, I've never hit a 4-bagger ever.
Really?
So I'll get like the first 2 or 3 in. And then I think what happens is I start thinking, oh, damn, I'm close to a 4-bagger. And then the other one will land like on somebody else's table in the back watching, Like I get all, oh, man, I'm going to hit this 4-bagger. But it's one of those things. So I do play a lot of strategy. If I see a guy, if I'm playing up against some of these guys who can only slide it in, I'm certainly my first bag is going to be trying to sit it right in front of the hole so that if you do slide yours in, you're taking mine in with it.
Absolutely, especially to be honest, at the at like the blind draw level like that, that's a perfect strategy to have because normally you're not going to come up against a guy who can just throw 4 air mails at a local blind draw. So being able to block a player who's just want to slide will definitely help you for sure.
All right, so we got a question from somebody watching over on Facebook. It's Jim Powell. He wants to know, do pro players prefer the term cornhole or beanbag toss?
Oh boy.
I've never heard beanbag toss. I heard bags, but not beanbag toss.
Bags is probably more of I don't know if we prefer it. To me it sounds better when I say cornhole. Because when I just say bags, it sounds more of like the backyard version of the game. We're just going to play bags. Or cornhole, I guess, maybe tries to sound more business-like, professional.
It's the professional term?
Yeah.
I gotcha. So if you want to be fancy with it, you say cornhole. But if you just want to be hood with it, it's bags.
Bags. Also, too, a lot in the Midwest, is just bags. They don't even call it cornhole. They just say bags.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I played a lot out on the East Coast. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was up in Vermont for about 15 years. And I would play mostly during softball tournaments, like in between games and stuff. And they would all be like, oh, who brought the cornhole? And I'm like, I brought my bags. Yeah. They'd be like, no, we call it cornhole here. It's the same thing like pop or soda, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
pop or soda.
Sexual harassment over there. What's cornhole?
Wait, you're playing with my what?
That's funny.
I got Steve to laugh. There we go.
Johnny says Southside cornhole. doesn't have the same reason.
No.
It doesn't.
It does
It's like,
not. It does not. You'll get the wrong clientele there.
yeah, you'll start getting guys like Mike Clevenger out there. Is what's gonna happen. You start playing Southside. All right, so we got to ask the question, and right now we are undefeated. We see my guy over here with the Southside White Sox jersey on. I myself am a diehard Cubs fan. I don't hate the White Sox, but I am a diehard Cubs fan. Cubs or Sox?
I am a diehard Cubs fan.
Attaboy! We are still undefeated, bro.
You're everywhere.
Still undefeated. We haven't had one
You're like
White Sox
roaches.
fan yet.
Well,
And you know
that's
what's
good.
funny is we had Stephanie Morales on the show, and I never asked her that question. I don't know why I didn't ask her the question, but she says now she is a Cubs fan because of Nico, but she grew up a Cardinals fan.
Oh, no.
And I was like, yeah. I said, you cannot grow up as a Cardinals
No.
fan and then become like, I'm glad you went this way,
Yeah.
but let's not even talk about you used to be a Cardinals fan. We don't want to hear that stuff here.
No, I didn't know that either. I was gonna say I know she's a Cubs fan because we went to a game together.
Yeah. Dude, we're gonna get. I was talking with Nico. We are going to be getting a group of us together. We're all gonna go out to the Cubs game. We're gonna either have the probably the left field side of the bleachers. We're all gonna sit out there. We're gonna heckle each other. We're gonna heckle the hell out of the whoever's playing left field for the other team that day.
I'm all
I've
in.
got some great one-liners for some of those guys out there, man. I had one the Reds left fielder last year. I don't even know his name. He was just a call up in September, and I had him like you could see him put his head down and his shoulders are moving because he's just laughing because I was saying some stupid shit to him. But that's how we roll here, man. So, Steven, before we let you go, why don't you tell people like where can we catch you? Where are you throwing next? When can we expect to see you down at Bourbon Street? Where are you throwing on the pro level next? Let us know what's going on with you.
So actually, this weekend I'm coming up kind of back home to Homer Glen, our state tournament. I'll be shooting with Ryan Windsor, and then our first pro national is going to be in April, and it's in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Oh wow!
That's,
All right,
that'll
I
get
got
the-
family out in
that'll
Corpus
get the
Christi. So
season. That'll
Yeah.
get the season
So,
started. That's cool. I've been hearing nothing
It's
but
got-
good things about it. So
it's kind of a long flight, man. You got to go through either Houston or San
Yeah.
Antonio,
You
and then
gotta
you
go
got to
through
take
Houston.
like a prop plane over to Corpus Christi.
Really?
But it's every time I
how
go
many
out there,
planes?
man, it's crazy.
I'm not looking
Yeah.
forward to this. I've
Yeah.
never flown on like a small plane before, and I
Oh,
just
I
found
have.
out I have
Just-
the small one.
I promise you, it's going to jump a lot. It's going to bounce. They bounce.
'Cause
It's
they
going to
can't
feel
go
like
that high.
you're like.
They can't
Yeah,
go to
it-
the stratosphere wherever they.
Okay.
So
go
it
on
just
normal
be
planes,
be
yeah.
forewarned. You're going to get a lot of turbulence, a lot of bouncing.
It's only like
but it's a beautiful
55-minute
place, man.
flight, so
It
it's
is, but
yeah.
Corpus Christi is beautiful. It's right off the water. They got a lot of stuff
Okay.
over there. It's
Super
a
cool.
great place. So you should have some fun there. I do have a request for you though.
What's
I
up?
hear there's these pros, one pro tournaments where you take one pro and one non-pro.
Okay.
Now Nico disappointed me a couple weeks ago when he went to that tournament and didn't even give me a call. All right, so the next time that there's one of these tournaments, man, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose a lot. But we're gonna have fun doing
throw
it.
together.
Yeah, we're gonna throw together and we're gonna have a lot of fun, and you're gonna teach me some stuff. So the next time there's one of these tournaments, you're gonna give me a phone call, right?
I'm all in.
All right.
As long as I'm
Sounds
free,
good,
I'm
man.
all in.
All right. We're in.
Bring
All
your
right, man.
cornhole.
Let me bring Johnny back on here and see if Johnny's got anything for you. What's going on, Johnny? Johnny, you there? Walmart
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
it's
Are you a
basement
rookie
audio.
move? Are you muted? Are you muted
Just move
again,
your
rookie?
lips. Move
Every
your lips.
week
I'll
you
do
are
his
muted.
voice. I'll do his voice. Move your lips. Fitz, thanks for not coming out last Thursday. No.
Oh, I just want to thank you for coming out and agreeing to do with Man Hour. It's certainly good to have a person a very to earth human being. You're pro, but at the end of the day, you're human and you have a heart. I think it's quite evident with the discussion we've had here today. Do you have you want to shout out any of your answers?
Man, I appreciate that first for saying all that. It really means a lot. I like to thank my sponsors, Titan Bags. best beds on the market for sure. Fan beds, cornhole, best boards for sure. My guy Brian. Oops, sorry. And then Spark Apparel. Can't really beat them in cornhole apparel, man. Sparky's the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Where are you headed to right now? I know you got somewhere big to go to right now. You want
So
to
I'm going to this it's like a Switch Holio. I don't know if it's a benefit or something, but it's like 45 minutes away in a town called like Galesburg. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna heading out there right now after I get done with this.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We
Yeah, good luck.
We look
Good
forward
luck
to
for
seeing
sure.
you at
We're
Burke Street
happy
one
to have
day.
Absolutely, thank you guys. I'll reach out to you when I'm coming up. And
Got it.
I'll,
All right.
Yeah, you
I'll
can watch
definitely
me.
get
You can watch me drink.
there.
You
Absolutely.
might get a contact drunk from me.
You actually, and you might not get a contact drunk, but what you're gonna have is like an eye twitch from watching this guy's toss. You're gonna be like, how does he
Hey,
make
I
it in the
lofted
hole?
him. I lofted him up. Steven lofts him.
So you know how Tom's nickname Reverse Mamba
Yeah.
is reverse. That's his.
Yeah, we call him the flat mamba.
Flat mom. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
All right, Steven. Thanks for
guys.
joining us, bud. We'll have you on again soon.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll talk to you. All right, Johnny, man. Another great interview. Another great star of the week. So thank you for putting that all together. What do we got coming up this week for Southside Bags? Who's coming out this week? Who do I get to lose my money to this week?
I'm not sure if Nico Morales is coming back. He did say he was gonna try to keep coming, for sure. But as far as the Star of the Week segment here, presented by Southside Bags, we are expecting Wally Kessler, K9 Cornhole, one of the ACCL analysts who does other streaming. He'll be coming on, and then following week we have Tony Maybach, who was also at Bourbon Street this week, and then we have a couple more. So we're booked all the way until early May. Just to reach out to another pro, and but yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about what you were talking about, or is that later on your side?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later on this week. I'm gonna put together some flyers for it. I gotta lock down some information over here. With the people that are gonna have us over there. And we're gonna lock all that down, and then we're gonna announce it. And by this time next week, we'll be talking about it for sure.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Sounds good.
All right, Johnny. Thanks for joining us, bud. I'll see you sometime this week. I might do short stops this week. I don't know. Let's see if my wife yells at me or not after I say that.
You coldest Tuesday to come out, supposed to be freezing.
Oh yeah, it is supposed to be cold as hell Tuesday.
-1.
So bring your.
So maybe I'll be the only one that shows up, and I'll win by default. I'll take it.
Bring your parka, whatever, your mittens.
I'll bring my new. I'll have my new Southside hoodie on. I mean, this thing's warm as hell.
They're warm. Yeah, free slang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, Johnny. We'll talk with you, man.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right.
See you soon.
So, Fitzy, while we were in that segment, every week Michelle yells at me because she
I
says
think you
that
deserve
when
it
we
this week.
when we are doing interviews, that I cut you off too much. I don't let you talk. I don't let you do the interviews. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I don't know. It doesn't matter what you think, so don't even start talking. How you like that, Michelle?
He comes into the house. He comes into my house. He's nice to my wife. He's charismatic with my kid. And it's all he just lubing me up to take me in my basement and fuck the hell out of me. That's what he's doing. And it's
Keep it up. I'm on Mike Clevenger you after we get off camera.
yeah, exactly. You're gonna throw some, some chaw at me.
All
That
right.
is still weird. Oh,
So we teased before Johnny came on about the Hall of Fame thing, right? And
yeah.
how do you feel about Scott Rowland going into the Hall of Fame?
Well, we talked just a little bit before the show. It's not that he wasn't a good player. I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer. He's Hall of the Very Good. Like, he's in there right with and I hate to say it because I love him, like a Paul Konerko. He's
Yep.
right in there with like players like that who had some great seasons. Never really the best player in the league ever.
Right.
I don't remember Scott Rowland getting that many MVP votes. We could take up his stats here in a minute, but
I'm pulling them up on my phone as we speak.
yeah, I disagree with it because you know, now what talent is going to be in there? And then you mentioned Andrew Jones, who was definitely the best player in the league. You know, many years he was the best center fielder in the league for almost a decade, or one of the best. I mean, yeah, when Griffey was hurt on and off during his career, maybe you could put Griffey in that ahead of him, but. I mean, Griffey was hurt a lot when Andrew Jones was doing his thing.
Yeah, and look, Scott Rowland is possibly the best defensive third baseman that you've ever seen, right? But his offensive numbers are little to be left desired, right? Like you talk about 316 home runs, nothing to sneeze at.
I'm not saying they're not great. I mean, they're better than good. They're very good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a career 281 hitter and all of that, right? But when you talk about defense and you've got a guy like Andrew Jones on the same ballot,
yeah,
not getting nearly enough votes, which I don't understand. And this is the thing that kills me. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not.
Yeah.
Why
used to be a
why
clear
is there
line.
10 years to vote, right? But this guy in Andrew Jones, he hit what did he end up with? He had 368 home runs, which was 40 more than Scott Rowland hit. He has more RBIs than Scott Rowland. He has more Gold Glove, or I believe just as many Gold Gloves, or something like that. They both won. Yeah, he's got more Gold Gloves than Scott Rowland. I believe he was a 10-time Gold Glove center fielder.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Jones was a stud, and for him to not be elected into the Hall of Fame, but Scott Rowland to be elected, is beyond me. And this is where, to me, the baseball writers of America have turned the Hall of Fame into the Hall of Friends. Like this is the hall of let's bring my buddies in, and I'm only voting in for people we like. Because let's take this is what I want to sit down with a panel of baseball writers who are not voting for guys like Andrew Jones or even guys in the steroid era, right? And here's the question I want to ask them. Take steroids out of it. Take the even if you don't take steroids out of it, let's leave steroids in it. Okay? Why are these guys held so accountable and held to such a high standard and not allowed to be in the Hall of Fame where they belong, but Major League Baseball gets a complete pass? You're not telling me that Major League Baseball didn't know about the steroid era.
They definitely knew.
There's no way they didn't know.
And looking back, we all should have known, really. I mean, these guys were turning into monsters, you know, changing shoe sizes, going up 2 or 3 shoe sizes, hat sizes. They knew. They definitely knew. And they ignored it, and they made money off it. And baseball was back because the late 80s and through the early 90s were not very good for baseball, especially after the strike. 4 or 5 years later, you know, baseball is popular again because, you know, the two mutants are going after each other, Sosa and McGuire. And, you know, I think that's what led to, I mean, at least that's what they said led to Bond starting steroids, because he was like, look at these motherfuckers.
Well, he hit 50 home runs that year and nobody knew.
Yeah. Well, really,
Like,
he hit about 55
yeah,
like that. Got hurt
Griffey
at
had a
the end
great
of the
year too.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't care why, and I still don't care that they did it. I wish the guys nowadays were doing it. I really do, man, because it was great. Name me a better era of baseball where it was more fun to watch than that era was. The summer of '98 was the best summer of baseball ever.
I think, you know what, I'm gonna have to disagree, because I think right now they have some of the best young talent in baseball right now that they've had since the 90s. So I mean, maybe we have to let that mature a little bit more and then look back on it, you know, and say, oh, okay, maybe it was a little bit more fun. But right now, I think there's more talent in the league than there has been since the 90s, or just as much or more. Now, like I said, the verdict, you can't really say that right now because a lot of these guys' careers haven't played out. But you got some monsters out there right now.
You do, and you're going to have a lot of
And you
changes.
got one guy who just, now I'm cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
You got one guy who just beat the home run record, and he's been giant his whole life.
First of all, he didn't beat the home run record.
Okay.
He didn't beat the home run
Bonds
record.
Sorry, he didn't beat Bonds.
He didn't beat the home run record. He beat the Yankees record.
Can we
And he beat the American
chew
League
bubble
record.
gum and walk at the same time? Can we say that record might need an asterisk, but
No.
he should still be in the Hall of Fame?
No, why does that need an asterisk? How many balls
Aaron
that
Judge
Barry
gets
Bonds
tested
hit?
for steroids?
How
Because
many-
Aaron Judge gets tested for steroids.
How many
Barry
balls
Bonds
did Barry
not.
Bonds hit in 2004 that left the ballpark? That went over the wall.
Without steroids?
It doesn't matter with or without steroids. Who cares?
There could be,
Because you know what? He was
there
going up
could
against
be-
guys like Roger Clemens, who
There
were
could-
also on steroids.
we could do both things at once.
But it was a level playing
He's not
field.
being. He's well.
Was it not a level playing field?
I don't know how much steroids help pitchers as much as batters.
The steroids helped
just
in the
because of the
fact
muscle twitch fiber thing.
these
the
guys were not
reaction
using
time.
steroids to gain strength into. I mean, maybe Barry Bonds might have to an effect. A lot of these guys were
He had
using
his best years
PEDs
in
to
his
get
late 30s,
over
early
the
40s.
everyday injuries that they could play through, so they're not losing their job, so that they are able to play more games. And yes, that enhances the number because they're playing more games.
I think to come back off injuries, I don't see why you can't take steroids. They give steroids to right now. I'm guessing this is just a guess, but I'm guessing that right now Liam Hendricks, as you drop the mic.
It's your fault. I'm
You
blaming
dropped
you
the mic
all
on
day.
me.
I'm,
Is the show over? Anyway,
I'm blaming you on all this
yes,
today. It's all
I
your
deserve
fault.
It. I deserve it. I deserve
You're like,
it.
hey, I
I'm
got
the
all this
sound guy.
great equipment. Just come over.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be the sound guy now. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, yeah, to come off injury, I think it's fine to take steroids. I think probably Liam Hendricks is taking steroids right now, who has cancer.
Let's
right
talk about
now,
Fernando
a lot of people
Tatis Jr.
What's that?
Fernando Tatis
Yeah.
Jr. was trying to
Yeah.
get back with his team during the midst of a team that probably could have won a World Series.
Probably could.
And he was trying to get back a little bit sooner, and then pops for PEDs
steroids,
on his
PEDs.
way back. So
that would be a hard rule to set up. When can they cycle off the steroids? What steroids can they take? What's the level of steroids they can take? I don't know if in testing. I'm not a doctor. I'm barely a podcast host.
I like what Jeremiah says here.
Yeah.
Why is David Ortiz beloved and he failed a test, yet some of these other guys are demonized without a failed test? It's because David Ortiz had a great personality. I love
Yeah.
David. David Ortiz, to me, is the best designated hitter of all time. There was no guy who was more clutch. He was just a stud, and he was a great personality. He was a lot of fun when they had the Boston Marathon bombing in there, right? And he comes out and gives a speech at Fenway Park, and he goes, and at the end of it, he goes, and we're playing ball today because this is our fucking city, right? And the whole crowd goes nuts.
Yeah.
Like he was a
Boston's
bluff.
strong, yeah.
Barry
That was pretty
Bonds
cool.
had a different personality with the media because he saw when his dad was playing and his dad started to decline,
Mhm.
the media started to turn on him. The media started talking about, how
Yep.
he needed to get away from the game and he was holding on too long and he wasn't helping the team anymore. And he saw what that did to his dad. So he hated the media before he even became a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
So, yes, he had, and that's what burns me about the baseball writers of America is because this is exactly what they're doing. They'll overlook the steroids as long as they liked you, as long as you were good to them. Roger Clemens, another guy, wasn't very good to the media,
No.
not in the Hall of Fame. Arguably the greatest pitcher of his era.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Even after Boston was great. Had some great years with, obviously, that great year he had with Toronto and then the Yankees and then even a couple good years with Houston. I think he pulled himself out of the World Series game against the Sox because he was about to get ruined there when Jermaine Dye went opposite field on him, and he said he had a hamstring injury, so there's a lot that he wasn't hurt that, but still played really well on a lot of great teams. Was a great pitcher. A lot of people say about Clemens, though, that after he left Boston, he started doing roids and that he wouldn't have been good anymore. I don't know how true that is. Now, Barry Bonds, that's always been my argument, was always one of the best, right fielders of all time.
Perennial Gold Glove winner. Guy could steal bases like it was nobody's business. He's still hitting for power. He was still hitting for average. He was legitimately the greatest player to ever step on a Major League Baseball field. I have him one over Babe Ruth. I have him over anybody else who has ever played this game because, dude, his stats, when you look at his numbers year after year, the numbers are insane. Dude, like, if he the biggest one was the one I sent you a couple weeks ago. If he only plays from 2002 to 2004, he's still fifth all time in intentional walks. Everybody was scared of him. Nobody wanted to pitch to the guy. The guy would come up to lead off an inning, and they walked him with the bases loaded in the 9th inning to tie the game because they didn't want him to win the game.
Ended up winning that game though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But who does that?
Buck Showalter,
right. But I mean, name me one other hitter in the game where you've seen that happen?
None. There is none. Frank Thomas a little bit.
I mean, Tony La Russa might have done it 3 times this year while he had a 1-2 count on him. But
there were some seasons where Frank Thomas had that a little bit, but not that much. I mean, there were some seasons where Frank Thomas was batting .330, hitting 40, 50 home runs. He might have had the record.
Also pre-shift, right?
Yeah, pre-shift, but
and now the shift is gone again.
Side of the plate, but I mean, I don't think you could shift on Frank Thomas.
Are we going to see guys?
Bonds was pre-shift.
Right. Are we going to see guys like Bryce Harper, who is a left-handed hitter? Are we going to see guys like that
hitting 300,
hit their potential? Because
at least.
What we were talking about, with these guys is they were playing pre-shift, and now this is going to open up a lot of stuff. The pitch clock is going to change the pitcher's rhythm. There's a lot of things that are coming into effect that I really think is going to help out the offensive side of the ball. Are we having this conversation in 10 years about a guy like Bryce Harper? I'm trying to think of some other left-handed hitters, guys that they shift on. Maybe sometimes you do shift on a right-handed hitter. It's not as extreme as a left-handed hitter, but I'm trying to think of other lefties in the game right now that are just ridiculous. But let's just say Bryce Harper. Are we talking about Bryce Harper maybe potentially being one of the greatest players of all time now that the shift is gone? Do his numbers just start to skyrocket?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, that second baseman isn't going to be playing the outfield anymore. You're not going to have your shortstop playing like, I don't know, I guess right at second base. Right where the base is at. So I mean, I would think so. I think more, just as important is second base is going to be a more important position right now.
Yeah,
you're not going to just throw a guy in there who can maybe not even place that well at second base, but or doesn't have the range.
Kyle Schwarber, does his game improve?
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know. I think Kyle Schwarber is always going to be a 230.
That guy sees a ton of pitches. He does strike out a lot, but he sees a ton of pitches. Yeah. And now that he's going to have more options of where to hit the ball, does he all of a sudden become a 280 hitter with 40 plus home runs or 30 plus home runs, who just all of a sudden becomes this guy that the Cubs scouting staff predicted for him to be baby Bambino is what they were calling him.
Yes. He had a great year. And obviously no stage is too big for him. I mean, he had a great playoffs, great year. I thought the Sox should have picked him up. I really did. I did not like that they didn't try to pick him up. I know that they have some young guys coming up that would fill the same position, but I mean, what the Phillies gave him, I mean, that was a very small contract that he's been able to contribute there. And you knew that bat was at least going to play, especially in Comiskey. But I don't even think they went for him, the Sox. I thought the Sox needed a good left-handed hitter. They obviously did with the Benintendi, picking up Benintendi, who's another left fielder.
Yeah.
Probably a better fielder and better contact hitter, obviously, than Schwarber will be. But Schwarber, you want the ball to go over the fence in the sport. I mean, that's the most important part. And the Sox They had a good average.
Yeah.
Their team average was at the top of the league, but they couldn't hit any fucking home runs, man. It was ridiculous.
Right. And, you know, another guy that I was just thinking of as you were talking, because I tend to think a lot while you're talking because I don't really listen to anything you're saying.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to anything.
But
that makes the show better, I think.
when you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, it makes the show a lot better. Another guy who gets held away is Manny Ramirez. He's not even on the ballot anymore. He didn't even get enough votes to stay on the ballot. And this is a guy who popped twice.
Yeah.
Two suspensions for it. Probably would have popped a third time had he played a little bit longer. He's a 312 career hitter.
Yeah.
312 career hitter, 555 home runs, almost 2,500 hits. I mean, his numbers compared to Scott Rowland's numbers defensively and offensively are here.
Yeah.
Like
one of the best right-handed hitters of all time, for sure. If I didn't see Frank Thomas play for so many years on the South Side, I'd probably say that he's maybe the best.
I think he was better than Frank Thomas. I do.
He did play the outfield. I mean,
yeah,
that has to be figured in. Just the same thing with Andrew Jones. I mean, he played center field, one of the most important positions on the diamond. More important than third base.
Yeah, and I just don't understand. I would love to meet with the Baseball Writers of America, and I would throat punch all of them. So I don't know if that's going to do anything for me to actually get to meet them, but I would love to meet them. So we talked enough about baseball. Let's get into some football.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get into the AFC and NFC title games, there was some idiotic statements made this week. Well, at least I think that they're idiotic.
Yeah.
You have a different take on it. You think maybe it was a favor to Ryan Poles.
Could have been.
But Warren Sapp had a lot to say about QB1. Let's hear it.
You know what? How good is the preparation, the practicing, and the people you're going to put around him? Because what I'm hearing out of Chicago is they're finna package him up, trade him for some other pieces, and then go with the Bryce kid from Alabama.
Wow, I did not know that. That's a good little insight right there.
I'm in Florida and I hear this and you haven't.
They haven't really told us anything.
Trust me, there's a bunch of there's smoke everywhere talking about them trading Justin Fields and going after Bryce.
All right, so
first of all, I just want to say, where does Brett Boone have his mic? Like, how much bass does he have going in his mic?
Wow, I did not know that.
He is one bass level away from Darth Vader.
he has definitely, like, maybe he needs a sound guy, because
more than I am.
He is definitely
he is bassy.
I don't know.
Wow, I did not know that. That's a good little insight.
Yeah, I don't.
But Sapp, I mean, I don't know. He has a lot of predictions. He says a lot of outlandish things that are ridiculous, that don't make really much sense. This is another one. Oh, I'm hearing it down here in Florida, and you're not hearing it up there. That's why the only thing I can think of. Maybe Ryan Poles isn't a friend, but maybe Ryan Poles is feeding stories to some of these people. They had an old GM, a couple weeks ago say the same thing, and it's just like, if he's not, he's certainly happy that people are saying this. What do you think?
You've got a quarterback that can compete on an NFL level. Justin Fields is 6'. They say he's 6'3". I think he's probably closer to 6'4", 6'5". He's a big dude.
Yeah.
And he's 228 pounds, and he has the legs of a Greek god. And once you get some weapons around him, I think you're going to really see this kid flourish. And you're going to trade that for a guy who is listed at 6 feet, but is probably closer to 5'10", and 194 pounds. And I've seen this guy before, and his name is Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
And I've seen the concussion issues. Kyler Murray, concussion issues, and look. The Bears aren't dumb enough to make this move.
No.
I tread that lightly being a Bears fan and seeing what our organization has done over the last, 40, 50 plus years, I don't see. We don't know if he was trying to get pregnant or not. It's 2023. So
Jeremiah, comment of the day.
Again, so I don't see any scenario where Ryan Poles is dumb enough to make this move. And that's exactly what it is if you make this move. It's dumb. And you will get eaten alive when Justin Fields is playing for whoever you trade him to.
Yeah.
And is winning MVPs and probably going to Super Bowls while Bryce Young is out for 11 weeks every single season with concussion issues.
Yeah.
You cannot make this move.
No, and people keep saying like, oh, he runs a lot. Like Justin, well, that's a good thing. I mean, when he's running for 400 or 500 yards a year and just running when he absolutely has to and picking up those third downs, those 3rd and 7s, those 3rds and 8s, you're going to like it a lot more because he's going to do that more than Bryce Young. And don't give me CJ Stroud either. He's Justin Fields light. And he'll be nice. I mean, he could be a good quarterback. It's very hard to tell. I'm not a scout, but don't give me him either. It's kind of crazy that there's even that's why I think that there's got to be something. There's got to be someone behind the scenes like feeding this information, so people go, oh, maybe they will take a quarterback, and then they get another draft pick out of it or whatever. It's all lies, isn't it? Isn't everything you hear? That's what everybody says. It's all lies before draft day.
It is. And one of the things I don't think a lot of people understand is that the Bears actually outscored, I believe it was like, well, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other teams this year. Scored more points than 9 other teams this year. They had the most big plays
the first 4 games too.
Right. And they had the most big plays in the league.
Yep.
All season long. And the teams that they outscored, Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady and that wide receiving core. The Los Angeles Rams and that wide receiving core. They also outscored the Tennessee Titans, who have a pretty damn good receiving core, and Derrick Henry. The other teams, you look at the Jets, who were a really good team for the first half of the season and then kind of fell off. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who never seem to have a losing season ever as long as Mike Tomlin is the head coach.
Yeah.
He is like the wall, and he can defend off a losing season. Like, he is ridiculous.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has a perennial winner, but the Bears don't.
Yeah, but they were they were 9-8, and kudos to Mike Tomlin with how he did it with that quarterback situation. Yeah. But the Washington Commanders, who also have a pretty damn good wide receiving core, and the Bears are out scoring these teams, right? Now you go into this offseason, and we're about to see it. We're 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl, so we are 2.5 weeks away from free agency. I believe free agency starts the Tuesday or the Wednesday after the Super Bowl usually. So you're going to see it. You're going to see what the Bears do. You're going to see what Ryan Poles is capable of. If at any point he decides that he is trading Justin Fields, I am no longer a Bears fan.
Really?
You heard it here first. I can't. How can I go through this again? We finally have the GM. Yeah. We finally have the head coach, and we finally have the quarterback. How could I go through tearing that up?
Yeah, I couldn't either. I mean, they're just not doing this, and that's what there's a lot of reasons for it. Even if there was a Joe Burrows in this draft, they wouldn't be doing it. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you restart the quarterback clock, but you also have to wait for him to be good. I mean, probably the wrong comparison because Joe Burrows is good basically right out of the chute. But I mean, the guy, there's no Peyton Manning in this draft. I mean, that's one big point. The other big point is you finally got a quarterback. You are the desert of quarterback play. Jay Cutler is your best quarterback of all time, and it's not close.
And he
It's
still
not
never threw for
close.
4,000 yards in a season.
Yeah, no one has ever thrown for 4,000 yards in a season. The last person to throw for 400 yards in a game for the Bears, Jim Miller, 1999. Jim Miller, who was actually a pretty good quarterback. Smart quarterback, had an arm. He just had I used to say he has an arm like Unitas, but the bottom half of him was like a 7-year-old lady. Was like my grandmother who had an arthritic hip. I mean, and Hugh Douglas basically finished his career off on a play that was blatantly a penalty. But I digress. I mean, there's just, why would you finally got a guy? You finally got a guy that looks like he has the smarts. Doesn't just say all the right things, but doesn't have canned responses to the question. Seems like a grown-ass man who knows what he has to do to get there, and it seems like he's going to get there, has the respect of the entire locker room and other players.
Yeah.
Good players.
Yeah.
Von Miller. The guy's name escapes me who out-juked on the Philadelphia Eagles. The quarterback. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
He has a podcast afterwards. He's like this motherfucker. He does a turn. If he doesn't go out of bounds, that's one of the best runs ever in the history of the NFL. If he doesn't go out of bounds there when he does the twirl,
right?
And you thought it was a touchdown, that was ridiculous. First of all, he throws a defensive end off of him there. I mean,
the funny part is I that play, it was one of like maybe 6 Bears plays that I didn't see this year because I had to run to the store and I heard it on the radio.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Me and my sister are going nuts. Even my dad is the most pessimistic Bears fan of all time. I'm sitting next to him and he couldn't even believe it.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, when we get weapons around this kid, if he becomes the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards, if he becomes the guy that we believe that he can be, you and I think, are on the same level with Justin Fields. If he becomes that guy, you, me, are going to John's house, your brother John, and we're going to watch a Bears game with him. And I'm going to sit not in front of the TV, but I'm going to sit in front of John. And while he's watching Justin Fields play, I'm just going to go like this the whole time. Because this guy that nobody, like, I wouldn't say nobody, half of the fan base is believing in and the other half of the fan base doesn't believe in. If he comes out and proves what the half of the fan base that does believe him is, I don't want to hear anything from the half that didn't believe in him. Don't come and enjoy this Super Bowl run because this is our quarterback. Yeah. And this kid is special. He's going to win an MVP.
I have to believe like 50 to 60% of these people did not watch many Bears games this year, and I don't blame them. It was bad a lot, especially those first 4 games. But I have to believe a Warren Sapp is watching, highlights basically, or a little bit of the games. Sees that he's good, sees that he can run, because especially I keep going back to it, that Green Bay Packers game, the second game, was probably the best he threw in that game. If you look at his stats, you would never know it. It was very accurate. The stats were accurate, but he had 2 basically picks. One was his fault, but he's trying to force it at the end of a game where the Bears are trying their best to lose.
Yeah.
And the other one was not his fault. It's this terrible receiving corner not coming back for the ball. But, I mean, that was – and if somebody who did not watch the game and just watched the highlights and looked at the stats would not say. But that was a great game. He outplayed Aaron Rodgers in that game.
Jeremiah says, do you know why Cutler never threw for 4,000? Because he was throwing to Devin Hester. It has been the quarterback all these years. It's been organizational philosophy of building a great defense and not acquiring competent offensive weapons. I highly disagree with you, Jeremiah. And here's why. It's kind of like the not Brett Favre, the Aaron Rodgers argument, where people are like, oh, well, he never had any weapons. But then you look back on it and he had years of Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, and good offensive lines and good run games. Now, I'm not going to say that you're wrong about the organizational philosophy, because you were correct.
Yeah.
They've never focused on building an offense.
60 to 70% of the salary cap goes to defense.
But how many years was he throwing to Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey?
Yeah. No, and
we had
Alshon
what
Jeffrey was damn
3 or
good
4
for
seasons
years
of
after.
Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey before Alshon they decided we're not extending your
Yes,
rookie
you're
deal
tall,
and you
your
can
hands
go.
are giant. You catch everything we throw to you. You can run. Let's
Right,
get rid of you.
let's get
We
rid of you.
found
Right,
like in the
right.
3rd or 4th round of the draft. Like,
Yeah.
let's bye.
But he did have how many years of those two
He did
weapons, and
have
those
some
were two
year-
pretty
yes,
damn
he
good
did.
weapons,
He
man.
did.
And so the fact that Jay Cutler not throwing for 4,000 yards with those guys, and you also had who's the running back there was Thomas was his first name.
Thomas Jones.
Thomas
You had
Jones.
Thomas Jones.
You
and
had
then
a good
after
run
him, you
game.
had Forte. You had
Yes,
Mike
Matt Forte. Like
Mike.
you had good run games. So the fact that you could come out here and say that Cutler never towards the tail end of Cutler's term with the Bears, yes, he was thrown to Devin Hester, and Devin Hester was the number one wide receiver.
There were some bad seasons.
Johnny Knox. You know what I mean?
Knox
Like
before he almost broke his neck.
Yeah, before he got murdered in the end zone.
Ugly.
Like
ugly play. Don't look it up or do.
Yeah, definitely do. But no, so I highly disagree when people say that Cutler didn't have anything to throw to, because he did. And John comes on and I was just going to ask you.
He's the one that sent me the Warren Sapp stuff.
John, I'm telling you right now, and maybe you're just joining us, John. Maybe you didn't hear what I had just said.
He's giving Brett Boone human growth hormone. Make his voice so bassy.
When Justin Fields is throwing for 4,000 yards and being the first quarterback to ever do so, because we have weapons built around him, I'm coming to your house. I'm sitting in your garage while we watch a Bears game together, and I'm not facing towards the TV. I'm facing towards you, and I'm going to watch the game like this. Because I don't want to see any bit of excitement come out of you when Justin Fields makes a play. Because you are so anti-Justin Fields that it is ridiculous. It is absolutely insane. And if they do trade him, and if he is with the Carolina Panthers, John, and he's winning an MVP while we're sitting here, while Bryce Young is sitting out with a Tua Tagovailoa type concussion, I'm going to be sitting in front of you doing the same damn thing.
Go into a dark room.
I'm going to do the same damn thing because he's going to win MVPs. This kid is special.
I think he's going to be a monster.
He's going to be. And John, I don't want you to enjoy any bit of it. Go get yourself a Green Bay Packers jersey. You don't like the Bears. You're not a Bears fan. Get out of here.
I mean, he's going to probably strangle you at some point. 1, 2.
I'll take my chances.
He's so angry. This is the most angry every show you get.
Because he's stupid.
And he said the Warren Sapp thing, I think on purpose.
Of course he did.
To do this. But, I mean, why would a Bears fan, when this year was anything, I think was a successful year for the quarterback position. Maybe the most successful year in the history. Why would a Bears fan want to change that? After all these years,
You're right.
The first round draft pick in 1947, and if he sucks, you're gonna have 2 first rounders next year,
right?
Why not find out some people around him? Tom Brady didn't have a whole lot of people around him. I mean, they kind of got it together at the end of the season, but that
they had Mike Evans. I mean, he had his wide receiving core is far beyond what Justin Fields.
Well, yeah, I agree, but probably didn't have as good a running game. I mean, Leonard Fournette
is a stud.
Okay, I think he's overrated.
Really?
Compared to what the Bears had.
Well, they also have Jones in the backfield too. Who's I mean, that kid's a stud too.
Yeah, but they didn't have the blocking for. I don't think they had the blocking scheme, and they don't have the same defense. They don't. Well,
I think they had the wrong coaching staff in place.
There is quarterbacks who didn't have good years, who didn't have the players around them to have those good years.
John says Rise Echo is terrible. Echo. Oh boy. You know what else is terrible, John? Your take on Justin Fields, damn it. Any rate, we got some AFC and NFC title games to talk about because I'm just going to keep freaking yelling at people. What do you expect to see today out of Let's start with the AFC title because to me this is the best game of the day. Joe Burrow, who people are talking about now as the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
The way that everybody and all of a sudden people are like he's better than Patrick Mahomes. Are you there with that?
That he's even with Patrick Mahomes. Is that what...
better?
Oh goodness. I talked to someone today who's sitting next to me now at work who was saying that. I don't think so. Not yet.
I'm gonna kill this guy.
Expert Justin Fields. Yeah, I just don't think he's there yet. I mean, third year in the league, I don't think he's there yet. I think Mahomes has a little. I mean, I know Mahomes plays out of the pocket a lot more than Burrows. That's what I heard from people, but I just think he's gonna have. I think he'll have a whale of a game this game. I think that from all you hear is the ankle's better.
And you see the video of him hopping on it during practice to show that it's better in front of the media.
Yes, exactly. I think it might have been a little bit of a showmanship in the game on last Sunday. But
I think there were some PEDs involved in that.
Might be. They might rub some steroids on there. I want to rub some steroids on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you think Burrows is better?
I do.
Really?
I do. I watch his accuracy in the pocket on the short balls, the medium balls, the deep balls. This guy I've never seen a quarterback that can put it on a dime the way Joe Burrow can. Yeah. And I know Patrick Mahomes is a stud too. I mean, it's no slight to say that you're the second best quarterback in the NFL, right? Yeah. And Patrick Mahomes does it in a different way, right? Like he's a little bit more flashy. He makes the impossible throws from impossible angles at all times of the day.
Behind the back throw is coming.
But Joe Burrow can sit in the pocket while it's collapsing, and he does things, and I'm not comparing them. I'm not saying that they're the same. I'm not saying they're on the same level, but he does the things that used to impress me with a young Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Where no matter who's bearing down, I watched Tom Brady have Ray Lewis break through the line untouched, complete a pass 30 yards downfield while taking a hit from Ray Lewis. And that right there was when I started really paying attention to Tom Brady. I think it was like his second or third year in the league when that happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's impressive. Like that is something that you can look at and be like, all right, I got to pay attention to this. And Joe Burrow has that. Joe Burrow has that it factor. And not only that, he's 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. He has better numbers in the 3 games against Patrick Mahomes.
He is. They have a better. I would say that Bengals defense is better.
I think they're going to be 4-0 after today. I do. I think the Bengals are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I do. I think both defenses are going to take over. I think that Mahomes' injury is going to have a little bit more. He's going to play, and he's going to play through it because he's a tough SOB. How he played that second half is beyond me. But I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I'm thinking somewhere like 24-21. And instead of betting on a winner or loser or a underdog or favorite in this game, I would bet the over under, and I would probably lean to the under. I think the over under right now is at 48. I can't imagine a higher game than a 24-21 game. I think it is going to be low scoring, and I really do. I think that Joe Burrow is going to be 4-0 against Patrick Mahomes, and he's just going to be that guy. And people are talking all day long about, comparing, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and all these guys that were playing back then, and saying that Joe Burrow is now Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes is Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning can never get over the hump against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see that. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game like Danny Hawker is saying as he comes into the chat. What's going on, Danny? He says KC wins and the score will be high. Juju will be a factor today. I don't know that Juju's been a factor for 3 years. And so
I'm not a fan of Juju.
I'm not a fan of Juju. I don't want the Bears to go after him in free agency. I don't want I've seen enough of Juju Smith-Schuster to know that he's no longer relevant in this league as a top wide receiver. Now, if he is relevant today, it's just because they lose sight of him. They lost sight of him in the game planning. They weren't thinking that Juju was going to be a factor. Like nobody's thinking Juju is going to be a factor except for Danny Hawker. I don't think Juju's going to be a factor. I really don't. I think that this Bengals defense is still good. The only way Juju Smith is, I'll change that up. Juju Smith is a factor if Eli Apple is covering him. Because that guy is he drives me nuts. I think the Bengals are going to win their first Super Bowl.
I
do.
I got the Chiefs in this game. I think it'll be a close game, but I got the Chiefs. I think Mahomes. I really think that this year he's looked a little different.
Yeah.
I think he's pissed off from last year, man. I think he's super pissed off from last year. And I think I just think he's a slightly better quarterback than Burrows right now. Now, could that change? Possibly, yeah. And I think when the games, like a lot of games, what do we say? 55-60% of the games came down to one score this year in the NFL. Even if teams were down to one score.
Yeah.
Look what happened with the Texans at the end of the year there to give us the first pick. So it's going to be a close game. And when there is a close game, I think you have to have the guy that improvises a little bit better.
Absolutely.
So I think that what will happen. It's mostly a crapshoot, but.
And Danny Hawker says, thanks for the mention. Danny, anytime, man. Just go ahead, click that like button, click the share button, let your friends in on some of this stuff. We'll bring everybody on. We'll give you mentions. We'll do all we got to do. Click like and share. And by the way, we do have a promotion running. I put a post out there last night. If you share the post, you get entered into a raffle for a piece of sports memorabilia. Once we get to 100 followers and 100 likes on the page, we're going to go ahead and run that giveaway. So you'll be, if you share that, Danny Hawker or anybody who's listening right now, Jeremiah, John, you guys share that post. And then once we get to 100 likes and 100 subscribers, we will go ahead and run that. But I don't think, man, it is going to be a good game. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you it would absolutely shock me for Kansas City to win this game, because I'm not saying that I would never put my money on Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying that I just, what I watch in Joe Burrow gets me more excited than what I watch in Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Now, Patrick Mahomes might have the crazier play. He might be flashier. But I think Joe Burrow has that it factor. And I know, look, every year since he's been in the league, Patrick Mahomes has been in the AFC title game. Yeah. Hasn't missed it once. Kudos to him. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's not bad. There's just something about the Cincinnati Bengals team. The way they click, the way they play, the entire, and their defense too. I think they're, like you said, their defense is better than Kansas City's defense. Yeah. I think their offensive line, even though it is hurt right now, is playing. They had the best game of the season last week. Yeah, and they're missing three offensive line. Yeah,
some of that was Buffalo had some key injuries.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, they had a great game. They did.
They did
backups then.
And I think that it is a kudos to the coaching. You never hear about their coaching staff and how great of a job they're doing, but they're doing a phenomenal job in Cincinnati. I just think that they are better. I think they're going to. It's hard to say out-coach Andy Reid, because look, Andy Reid is questionably, arguably a top 3 head coach in his era. Yeah. And a walrus. Yeah. I mean, he will definitely steal your fries off of your plate while you are not looking. Combs likes the Bears. Don't listen to him. Yeah, my boy Buck is out there chiming in on the Man Hour page. He just does not like the fact I'm picking against his Kansas City Chiefs, but that's where I'm at. Like, again, it would not surprise me at all if Kansas City wins this game. I'm picking Cincinnati. I picked Cincinnati, San Francisco in the Super Bowl prior to the playoffs, and I picked Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl prior to the playoffs. I've missed on 2 games in the postseason. One, I missed on that Chargers debacle because I picked the Chargers in that game.
A lot of people did.
Had a 27-point lead, and I still lost the game somehow. And then I had the Giants upsetting the Eagles last week, which I missed on. We're going to talk about the Eagles
San
here.
Fran over the Eagles today?
I had them. This is another game that it would not shock me either way. Yeah. I can't remember. Can you remember when we've had 2 championship games on Championship Sunday where it was such a tight call that the favorites were favored by less than 3 points? Basically, it's now back to a 1.5 point favorite for Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then I was looking today, any spot that you put it in, whichever matchup you have in the Super Bowl, there is not a favorite by more than 2 points.
Yeah, that's and you know the NFL loves that.
Yeah.
Parity. It's parity in the NFL. That's how all the NFL's been for years. That's where all the rules are skewing to. Lots of offense, close games. NFL.
What would be the most exciting matchup in the Super Bowl for you? What do you think would be the most fun to watch? Not who you want to win, but what would be
Chiefs?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
Come on. That's who I think it's gonna be. I mean,
wow, you got the Eagles too. You're completely opposite of me.
Yes.
I
love it.
All right.
I think their defense does stack up against San Francisco pretty well, and we haven't seen anything from Brock Purdy. I mean, he's done. I'm not saying we haven't seen anything. I'm just.
He's undefeated. He's undefeated.
We haven't seen. He hasn't really.
Now you're sounding like John.
He hasn't been totally challenged yet. John likes Brock Purdy, by the way. He hasn't been challenged yet. I don't think. I don't think enough. I mean, is he throwing 20-yard outs yet? Is he throwing? I mean,
he's thrown some deep balls.
He's thrown a certain amount, but I want to see him to be challenged in this. And if he does well, then okay. But I don't see him being challenged yet. I think the Eagles defense is going to challenge him for sure.
He's 7-0. It's the only argument I need, Ryan.
Rex Grossman started off the 2006 season 7-0. Come on, and people were giving him the MVP trophy already.
And Rex Grossman's been to just as many Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I don't care. But
you have to get a shot in on the Packers.
I have to, and maybe the Packers playoff hopes can mimic Virginia McCaskey later, and they'll both be dead. So. I will. I just remembered that I hadn't killed her yet this week, so I just wanted to throw it out there. I don't see. God, I think it's another close game. But I think the 49ers win this one by like a touchdown. I really do. I think their defense is that good. I think they're capable of shutting down Philly. But in the same aspect, man, Philly is capable of putting up 30 points. Everybody was impressed by the way they got to the NFC title game. Mm-hmm. But then you have to remember, you were playing a Giants team that has overachieved all year long, that was supposed to be in a rebuild season and found their way into a playoffs and won a game.
Yeah.
So was it that impressive? Was it, was it as impressive as what maybe Cincinnati did to Buffalo? Was it as impressive as what Kansas City did to Jacksonville? Even
with their quarterback being hurt.
Yeah.
Well, the first seeds, that happens a lot with first seeds though, where they're they get
because they get the bye.
They get the bye, and it isn't that impressive. But I mean, I'm a believer in Hurts. I mean, I don't know if you are. But
I am now.
Yeah.
I wasn't before the season, but as the season went, and that's why for me, if there's any team in the league that the Bears could model after, it would be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Absolutely.
To build around your guy. Go get him weapons and go build your offensive line the way that they did. Would it be cool to see the Eagles versus the Chiefs? Not just for the quarterback matchup, but for the Kelsey brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things leading that way that would make it a cool matchup. I don't think we're getting it. I think we're getting Mr. Irrelevant in the Super Bowl, which to me is a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about that all day long. And you're getting Joe Burrow again, maybe winning his first Super Bowl for the city of Cincinnati.
It'd be a good story for Cincinnati.
It would be. There's a guy who lives in Mount Greenwood by me, right around the corner. You drive past his house. His car is decked out in Cincinnati Bengals stuff. He's got his whole house decked out in Cincinnati Bengals stuff. Dude, he is out there waving the flag after victories. It was a lot of cool to see when they went to the Super Bowl last year. They did a piece on him on WGN News about having him in the city. So it's cool for guys like that. I like fan bases that deserve winners, right? I
Yeah.
talk about a lot in baseball with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That fan base deserves more. Cincinnati's fan base deserves this. And to me, it would be the coolest story would be to watch them win a Super Bowl. It wouldn't be watching Kansas City. Philadelphia fans never deserve to win anything. And then you're like, you look at the San Francisco 49ers, and their fans have had winners. And the Brock Purdy story, Brock Purdy, I think, and the Cincinnati Bengals story, those two in the Super Bowl, and either one of those two winning the Super Bowl, I think would be the coolest stories.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, it would be like I said, it would make for a cool story, and it could happen too. I mean, it's like the most even matchup, like you said, that we've seen in a while from 2 championship games, and the Super Bowl will be the same.
Yeah. So I'm. Your money is on Eagles, Kansas City.
Yeah.
My money is on Niners
We'll see
and
what
Cincinnati. I've seen some of your picks, and I
Have not been
I
good.
would trust mine more.
Not been good this season
So
for the
I
Bears.
now after this
Oh, boy.
conversation, I feel so much better about my picks going into this game.
Yeah.
It's
Especially that the first Detroit game. I thought the Bears were just going to trounce them.
they were trouncing them.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh wait, if we win this game, we won't have the number 1 pick later.
Yes,
So
exactly.
they
Let's
stopped
run the
playing in
ball.
the second half. Yeah.
Yep.
So it was one of those things. But that, I mean, look, that's anyway. We're not gonna talk about the Bears of the past because I'm just gonna get worked up again.
Yep.
So we've done all the talk. We've talked about who we got in the Super Bowl. We've had Jeremiah on the show. We've had Danny on the show. We had a great interview today with Stephen Bernasette. We had Johnny on the show. We talked about Southside Bags. And we talked about the White Sox debacle with Mike Clevenger, and when are they going to finally cut this scumbag is beyond me. But it should have happened already. I'm disappointed. But if he ever takes him out for the White Sox, I'm telling you right now, like I'll be out there with picket signs. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I will be.
I think what's going to happen, the investigation's going to be done. It's going to be ugly, and they're going to have to get rid of
But
it.
I mean, look, if there's any team in the city that can promote domestic violence, it's probably the team on 35th and Shields. So,
Coming out firing.
all right, man. So we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna talk a little bit more. Big announcement coming this week from Man Hour. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Buck and I will be on Monday this week, and I believe Wednesday. We're gonna have that big announcement. We're gonna figure out how to do it. And Buck is on all week long. Has different guests. My work schedule might be changing very soon, so I'm probably gonna be on more during the week as well. So definitely make sure you guys are liking, sharing. We've got a big announcement coming up. I will tell you that it does surround the NFL draft, so stay tuned to that. We have a big announcement on what we are going to be doing, so stay tuned for all of that. And until next time, until next Sunday, Man Hour Nation, rise up.